Hey homeschoolers, I'm Melissa Webb, former full-time classroom teacher and homeschool mom turned full-time business CEO. I am determined and dedicated to helping you. Yes, I want to give you sound, educational, practical tips and advice, at the same time making sure that you're enjoying the family journey that you are on. So if you are looking for a place to be encouraged and inspired, you have found the perfect podcast. Homeschooling is a work of heart, is truly the perfect place to start. So welcome. Let's jump in. Hello, friend. Hey, I have a quick question for you. Are you a procrastinator? I have certainly had my moments, but more times than not, I am the girl who got that assignment, was told she had a month to complete it, and was done the next week. Are we on the same page there? Or are you like, oh, you're the one who drove me crazy? I don't know what it is. I just get to work. I love the feeling of being done. I love a list that I can check off. Yes, I am the person who, if I get something done that wasn't on the list, I will write it down on my list just so I can check it off. That feels so good. I can physically feel my blood pressure drop. All my stress just flitters away and I can relax. And I love that feeling. Now, my husband is the complete opposite. And the idea of starting an assignment or a project is typically so stressful, he will just put it off until the last minute. So you can imagine this. We're getting ready for a big holiday event, say Thanksgiving, and I'm starting to get ready for that event 4 to 6 weeks in advance. Years ago, when we were first married, I would try to pull him in 6 weeks in advance. And he'd say, you're going to have me wash the windows now, but in 6 weeks, you're going to ask me to touch them up. I'm not going to do it. You tell me the day or two before what you want done. I'll feel motivated then. I'll get it done. And it would drive me crazy at the time. But here's what I did instead. I started making him a list. Every time I thought of something that I wanted done, I'd put it on the list. And then I would show him the list to just say, how much time are you going to need to get that done or this done? And that worked for us. But at the end of the day, he just did not like to get things done early. He just didn't. He was motivated by deadlines, by the fear of paying a consequence if it wasn't done, or disappointing his wife. So where do you land? Are you motivated without needing all of the deadlines, consequences, inspiration? Do you just act, or do you need something to get you going? And what about your kids? I'm so curious, do you or your kids wait, or do you just dig in? That's the big question. You'll see that I titled this week's podcast, Motivation is Overrated. And I believe that because there are too many times that I hear a child say, oh, I just never felt like getting started, so I still haven't started my writing. Or you know what they'll call it? Writer's block. And I don't believe in writer's block. I have a whole episode on that. I have writer's block is just a thought in our head that basically says I'm not feeling motivated. That's what that means. And the thing is, you can overcome it. You really can. Waiting for motivation is completely overrated. And I'm confident we've all had moments, including myself, where we've said, oh, I just don't feel motivated to do this right now. Whatever this is, it could be meal planning. I've picked that ball up many times and dropped it. Lesson planning, exercising, working on the next chapter of a book. It's all normal. But for anyone needing to get things done, I want to encourage you this week to stop waiting for motivation to begin. You don't have to. Did you know that? You do not have to wait to be motivated. In fact, we should teach our children not to wait for feelings of motivation. Just act. Because here's the truth. Spoiler alert. Action ignites motivation. This kind of goes back to which came first, the chicken or the egg? Which came first, action or motivation? There's a lot of study and research that backs up action ignites motivation. You do not need motivation to start. You need to start to get motivated. I hope feels really good to your ears that you're like, oh, that's actually great news. I think it is. But let's go ahead and define the two words, motivation versus action, just to make sure that we're all on the same page with this topic as we jump in and go a little deeper. So motivation is the desire to do something. And the thing is, motivation is often driven by emotion. It could be triggered by inspiration or a reward, some kind of an external circumstance, even a consequence. Like if you don't get that room of yours cleaned up, you are not going to your friend's house this afternoon. Whereas action is the initiation of a behavior, and it's regardless of emotional state. It's what you're physically doing, okay? So I think of motivation as something that relies on my feelings. Am I feeling like doing it? Versus action is a decision. I'm deciding I'm just going to do it. And that's the difference. Now, there's a lot of research, as I mentioned, that backs up that action leads to motivation. There's behavioral activation therapy. Individuals act first to treat a depressive state. And the studies in that have shown that even without motivation, just doing the action, these people are able to improve their moods and increase their motivation over time, which is very encouraging. There are two books, if you want to read this summer, some books on how to build better habits. My two favorite books are Tiny Habits by Dr. B.J. Fogg. He's a Stanford researcher. The other book is Atomic Habits, great book, by James Clear. Both are excellent. And Dr. Fogg has a quote that says, action leads to motivation more often than motivation leads to action. And I like that. I think that's very true. I would never say that you can't wait for motivation or that motivation doesn't get things started first. Sometimes it really can. As I mentioned in the definition, it's having the desire to do something. So if you do have that desire, if you have a strong feeling, excitement to get it going, you'll get it going. You'll just do it because you'll feel very motivated. But that's less often the thing that gets the ball rolling. More times action is going to lead to the motivation. I also like what James Clear says in the book Atomic Habits. A quote was, "You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems." And in his book Systems, he's referring to all the actions that you build up in your consistency, the discipline. That's a really big factor. So how does this all apply to you as a homeschooler? Well, as a teacher, I think it's very important that we teach with an action-first approach. Have you ever tried to just motivate your child to want to do schoolwork? Like, hey, you want to go do some math? I doubt the majority of us say that because we would get the answer, no, not really. I don't really want to. Because most people aren't just motivated to go do their math worksheet, let's say. So as a teacher, this is something you already likely do. You maybe just weren't realizing it. And if you're not paying close attention, definitely pay close attention because you will find that you'll enjoy teaching more and you'll probably get more accomplished. And that is to teach with an action-first approach. So, for example, let's say that you're starting to teach the concept of multiplication. And like I said, for some kids, you could just say, we're starting multiplication today. Do you want to go get started? Some kids are so excited to learn multiplication. That's all you need. They are motivated. That excites them. There's the feeling, good to go. But a lot of kids will be like, no, not now, Mom. Can I do this or can we do that? So you want to have an action first approach. What I would recommend is, let's say your kids are finishing up breakfast and you go to the pantry and you pull out a bag of mini marshmallows and you have a whiteboard and some markers and you say, hey, let's clear the table. We have multiplication to do. And the kids are going to be like, with mini marshmallows? What are you talking about? This action first approach is going to ignite motivation. Action leads to motivation. They'll be like, wait, what? Oh, I want to, what are we going to do? And you're like, yep. So I'm going to write out this problem 2 times 3. And you can make an array. So you could have 2 rows, 3 columns, and use the little marshmallows to point out, count them up. How many do you have? That's because I'm saying I have 2 rows with 3 things in each column. And boom, they're starting to get that idea. They're more motivated. Then you say, okay, here's your worksheet. Write down 2 times 3. What is it? 6. Okay, you do the next one. You're going to find it really can change your educational approach and instill a bigger love of learning, or at least a higher level of curiosity. Because the result is that momentum's going to build. There's going to be less resistance, and you and your child both will feel happier once you've started and more accomplished. The hardest part is starting. I think almost anything, whether it's getting dressed in the morning, tying our shoes, walking out the door to head to the gym, like whatever it is, once we get going, we usually do pretty well. It's just getting started. And that's also backed with some science. I don't know if you're familiar with the Zeigarnik Effect. Anyway, it's a psychological principle. Humans remember our unfinished tasks and are more likely to keep working on something we started but didn't finish. So the key there is to just start something. Just get it started, even a little bit. Let's say with those marshmallows, after about 10 minutes, you see the eyes are glazing over, they're not as interested, but they still have 5 problems to do. Say, hey, not a problem. Let's go outside and do some jumping jacks. Let's go dribble the basketball for a little bit. Let's go jump on the trampoline. We'll come back after we take a little break. When your child runs back in, odds are your child's going to run right back to that table to get those done because it's an unfinished project. So that's good news. At least I hope it is. Because as long as you can get them started, you will get them to finish it. And I think that sometimes the big project like writing an essay can feel very overwhelming. If it's a big project, a child's going to say, I know I'm not going to finish it right now, so I don't even want to start it. But if you could just encourage a small act, hey, let's just work on your hook. That is a little spark. And now that something has started, the brain is going to say, oh, but it's not done. I want to finish. I need to finish. And that can be more motivating than never starting at all and just putting it off. Let's talk about chores, because I think chores are another thing that often kids will not feel motivated to want to do, at least not altruistically. Most don't. Most either fear a consequence if they don't unload the dishwasher, or maybe they desire an award. They're like excited or feel joyful, like I'm going to get $5 for doing whatever this chore is. So sure, if there's a positive feeling or a negative feeling, that can motivate. But if you were to remove the fear of consequence or the excitement for the $5, how likely would it be that your child would complete the task right away? Let's say you wanted to have them wash the windows. It's probably not going to be that likely. If you offer up and say, hey, go ahead, do it when you feel motivated. You know you're going to be waiting for a long time. However, if instead you said, hey, go grab the Windex and the rags for me. I'm going to wash this window and you're going to wash that window. Now the two of you are doing an action, and a lot of times you sitting alongside your child to work on math, you sitting alongside your child to work on writing or to do an activity. Those shared projects, you get the action going. You could be washing the windows, washing the dog, washing the car. It's more fun when others are joining in that action. So remember to use that to your full potential as well. You know, the thing is, I do love a story about somebody who just experienced this great burst of inspiration. I have that sometimes where I'm like, you know what I feel like doing today? I actually want to go through all of my wrapping paper and ribbons. I want to organize it. I've been wanting to do it. Today feels like the right day, right? Or maybe you're having breakfast with your kids and your daughter Rebecca is like, Mom, may I clean out my closet today? I want to clean out all my clothes. And that's great. That's great. I love moments like that. But I also believe they're pretty rare. There's a fun fact for you. Studies show that the most successful people who have been questioned and asked about how they are so successful, so accomplished, they, turns out, do not wait for motivation. Instead, they build habits, they have rituals, and those support consistent action. They're doers. And that is what we call discipline. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. So that action part is really important. Let's wrap up with 3 action-based strategies that I have in mind that you could apply at home. They are the 5-minute rule, visual cues, and habitual pairs. And I'll explain them very quickly. Just see if it's something you might want to implement. Give it a shot. And by all means, let me know if it works. So the 5-minute rule, this is especially great with big projects. It could be working on that essay, right? You could say, hey, let's just use the 5-minute rule, sweetheart. You set a timer for 5 minutes and you say, all I want you to do is work on it for 5 minutes. After the timer goes off, you can keep working if you want to, but you also have the option to stop. And just pay attention. Do they stop? Some will. Do they say, actually, hang on, I just want to finish one more sentence while I have this thought in my mind? They may keep going. So the 5-minute rule is a great one. Another action-based strategy you could try would be to leave visual cues to increase the chance they'll get the action started. So let's say they are getting ready for a piano recital and they need to be practicing their piano for an hour every day. So in the morning, next to their breakfast, whatever, their clothes, you leave the piano sheet music as a visual cue. Like this is true with adults who have a hesitation to start a regular morning walking routine. Like one of those books that I talked about, Tiny Habits, talks about just leave your shoes out the night before, your walking shoes and your walking workout gear right there on the side of the bathtub so that when you get up in the morning, you go wash your face and brush your teeth, you see it, you're like, that's what I've got to put on today. As soon as you see the visual cue, it's highly increased that chance that you'll actually go do something. So visual cues are great. So think about that. And then lastly, habitual pairs. There's a lot about pairing up your habits, putting 2 things together. It increases the chance that a new habit will be built. So let's say you want to get your kids over the summer working on a summer journal. So that's their new action is we've got a summer journal I want them to start So on the days that you want them to do that, kind of like with the 5 or with the visual cue, you're going to always pair it with something else. So they finish breakfast, and as soon as they pick up their, bowl and they're walking to the kitchen, you have the journal right there and you hand it to them. And those two things get paired together. Oh, yeah, I just finished my breakfast. Got it. Here's my journal. I'll go do my summer writing. So habitual pairs works well too. So the 5-minute rule, visual cues, habitual pairs, easy things to try. And just see if you can't get some action stimulated. My goal here is to just encourage you. If you long for more moments of feeling motivated or seeing your child motivated, please stop waiting for that feeling to come. Instead, make the move. Open the book, walk outside, do the thing. Motivation will meet you after you take the first steps. And if you are waiting to feel motivated to keep your kiddos learning this summer, please stop waiting to feel motivated. You have a great opportunity in this golden season. You're waiting for the wrong thing if you're waiting to feel motivated to get them going. Instead, I want you to act. Motivation is overrated, but I think action is underrated. I have inspirational webinars happening every week. I have done for you programs that you can literally plug and play. So as Nike says, just do it, my friends. Let's go. Right on. Well, thanks so much for tuning in and listening this week. Hey, if this was something that you found valuable, don't forget you want to subscribe or follow so that every time a new episode is dropped, you'll be the first to know. And hey, before you go, if you are looking to get some of this academic writing under your belt and outsourced so that it's one less thing, freeing you up to enjoy more time with your family, hey, you're going to want to head over to writeonweb.com to see what kinds of resources and materials I have available for you. I will look forward to seeing you there, and I will look forward to seeing you here in our next episode. Right on.